What's up guys, my name is Fran and once again welcome back. And this is the Apple HomePod. Alright, so I promise you this won't be a 5 to 10 minute video of me ranting about how bad the Apple HomePod is. However, I will tell you a little bit of a spoiler alert, it kinda sucks. So when first unboxing the Apple HomePod, I thought it looked pretty cool. It was a little bit disappointing because it was smaller than I thought it was going to be. I was under the impression that it would be the same size as the Google Home Max, but that's okay because big sound sometimes can come out of small packages. The HomePod is made up of this really nice soft to the touch cloth material. It even has some cloth material on the actual AC power cable. I think that's a really nice touch. Setup for the actual HomePod was pretty simple and straight to the point. Once you actually bring your iOS device close enough to the Apple HomePod, you can then plug it in. You'll then see a pop-up notification to set up the Apple HomePod at the bottom of your screen. And after a few clicks, you're ready to go. When it comes to playing media on the Apple HomePod, there's a few ways you can do this. You can either use your iOS device paired up with AirPlay and stream media to it that way. There's also a small touch display at the top of the Apple HomePod that gives you a couple of controls there. So you have the ability to either raise or lower the volume, you can tap to play and pause, you can double tap to move forward in the song, or you can even triple tap to go backwards and maybe repeat a song. And then of course you have the ability to control your HomePod via Siri. Now I'm not really going to get into that in this video primarily because I'm not the biggest fan of Siri and my opinion might be a little bit more biased. Now as far as the actual sound on the HomePod, I'm not an audiophile or anything like that, but it does sound pretty good. Now what I will say is I do like a little bit more bass in my audio than normal. On the HomePod, once you start pushing the volume beyond that 80 to 90% mark, the audio starts to fall apart, especially in the bass department. So that is slightly disappointing. And that sort of segues me into some of the cons or some of the reasons as to why I think the Apple HomePod sucks. Alright, so reason number one, the Apple HomePod is not platform agnostic. AKA you need an iOS device to actually operate this thing and even set it up. And I think that sort of funnels it into a very niche group of diehard Apple fans. And along the same lines of not being platform agnostic, I guess you can say reason number two, you cannot use it with other music providers. You have to use this thing with Apple Music. And again, there's a ton of people out there, just like there's a ton of Android users out there, there's a ton of people who don't like Apple Music. Now, for me personally, I recently switched over to Apple Music, but for a long time, I was a Google Play music subscriber, mainly because of my YouTube Red subscription. So again, it's just one of those things where, why lock it into this very small ecosystem and force people into using your music service just so they can use your device? So another reason why I'm not a big fan of the Apple HomePod is actually the lack of stereo pairing. So a lot of other smart speakers like the Google Home Max and then also most Bluetooth speakers nowadays actually give you the ability to pair two of the devices together and actually play them simultaneously in stereo mode. Alright, so the final and the biggest reason why I feel like the Apple HomePod kind of sucks actually has to do with the sound quality and the price to performance ratio. The Apple HomePod retails for about $349.99. Now, that's already a pretty hefty price tag. So when you compare it to other NSA listening devices that we love putting in our homes, in my opinion, I think its biggest competitor is actually the Google Home Max. Even though there is a $50 price difference, as far as sound quality goes, in my opinion, it sounds like there's $1 million difference. I'm not sure if it's Google's intelligent EQing technology or the fact that they're just using better speaker drivers, but the audio quality coming out of the Google Home Max just sounds richer, and it obviously has a lot more bass because it does have bigger cabs, but overall, I think the Google Home Max just sounds that much better. I do plan on doing a full video on the Google Home Max versus the Apple HomePod sometime in the real near future, even though at this point you guys probably know where my opinion lies, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on that one. But turning our attention back over to the Apple HomePod, at its $350 price tag, it's just way overpriced. I mean, there's so many other options out there on the market. You have Alexa, you have Google Home, you have Sonos now. In all honesty, it probably should have came out at about maybe $199 or $250 with the Apple tax that we're so used to paying. But you know what, you guys, let me know what you think about the Apple HomePod down in the comment section below. Also, right down there, if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well, because we've got nothing but really good, awesome content coming out in the real near future. Once again, guys, my name is Fran. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.